He was the therapist people ran to when the world became too dark. He knew how to listen, how to hold silence just long enough to feel like safety. He was the man who helped trauma victims rebuild their lives, or so everyone thought. But beneath the calm smile of Dr. Lennox Vale was a man obsessed not with healing pain, but with mastering it. What he did in the shadows wasn't just murder, it was the cold dissection of human suffering. Charleston, South Carolina, adored Dr. Lennox Vale. He ran a prestigious trauma recovery clinic downtown, served on the board of a local mental health nonprofit, and regularly appeared on news panels to discuss PTSD and mental health stigma. He was tall, thin, and handsome in a clinical way. His pressed suits and tortoiseshell glasses lent him an air of intellectual warmth. Patients trusted him, donors praised him, and former clients swore he saved their lives. But nobody knew where Lennox Vale came from. He didn't speak of childhood. There were no family pictures in his office. He was a man of the present, and the present looked perfect. In truth, Lennox Vale was born Leonard Valesky in a neglected pocket of Gary, Indiana, to an alcoholic mother and a father who disappeared before he turned 3. He spent much of his childhood in foster care. Records from a group home describe him as brilliant, distant, compliant, but unnerving. One note stood out from a therapist at age 10. Leonard does not cry, not even when recounting abuse. He expresses curiosity about pain, but no emotional connection to it. By 16, he had won multiple science fairs and received a scholarship to attend an elite boarding school. From there, it was Harvard, then Johns Hopkins. Each step up the ladder polished him further, until all that remained was Dr. Vale, trauma specialist, author, humanitarian. Ghosts don't leave fingerprints. Between 2015 and 2020, 5 women disappeared from Charleston. All had one link. They were patients of Dr. Vale. Case 1. Jenna Corwin, 29. Abused by an ex-police officer. Recently started EMDR therapy with Vale. Disappeared in December 2015. Police found her car at a gas station outside town. No signs of struggle. Case 2. Lisa DeWitt, 34. Diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and depression. Last seen leaving Vale's clinic in July 2016. Case 3. Karina Lopez, 22. College student who had survived childhood abuse. Missing since 2017. Case 4. Angela Ray, 40. A veteran struggling with PTSD. Last text sent to her sister said, "My therapist wants me to stay after hours. Might be good. I feel hopeful." That was September 2018. Case 5. Sarah Whitman, 26. Disappeared March 2019. Her sister Emily would become the thread that unraveled it all. Emily Whitman didn't believe Sarah had simply left town or relapsed. She hacked Sarah's cloud storage and found therapy logs, cryptic, anxious, and increasingly suspicious of Dr. Vale. One entry read, "He asks things no one should. About dreams, about how it felt to be tied down. I lie. I say I don't remember. But I do. And I don't want him to know what I do remember." Emily took this to police. They were polite, but shrugged. Vale had alibis. No warrants were granted. So she investigated alone. Found other victims. Tracked Vale's career across states. And then she met Marcy Winters. Marcy Winters was a social worker in rural Washington. Back in 2008, a young intern named Leonard Vale, then still going by his real name, had joined their behavioral unit. Marcy remembered him well. He was creepily professional, always observing, rarely speaking unless spoken to. During his internship, a 17-year-old patient, Nina H., vanished from a group home. Her file had been erased. When questioned, Vale said he had little rapport with her, But now, 12 years later, Emily found that Nina's initials, NH, matched one of the labels on a VHS tape recovered from Vale's Charleston storage locker. The tapes were discovered only after the fire. On October 5, 2020, an electrical short from a hidden server stack triggered a fire in Vale's basement. The fire was contained, but when the fire marshal noted a heat signature coming from behind a false wall, he alerted authorities. Charleston PD obtained a warrant. What they found underground would make hardened officers vomit. Behind the false wall was a narrow staircase leading to what Vale had named the lab. It had soundproof walls, surgical lights, a custom-built restraint chair, blood-stained gloves, bone saws, journals, and freezers, 3 of them. Inside the freezers were 5 bodies, 4 female, 1 male. All were mutilated, their eyes removed, teeth filed down. Later dental forensics confirmed the identities: Jenna, Lisa, Karina, Angela, and Sarah. Police also found 47 VHS tapes, each labeled with patient initials. The tapes weren't only graphic, they were methodical. Vale had documented every phase of his torture: how long victims could remain conscious without food, how various sedatives affected memory retention, how isolation altered speech patterns. He logged each subject's breakdown like a case study. His journals referred to the project as SPIRE, Systematic Psychological Interrogation and Response Evaluation. One excerpt read, "They are puzzles. Every mind has an edge. The point it fractures, folds, rewires. My job is not to harm. It is to explore. Pain is simply the tool." Vale was arrested that night. The news broke the next morning. Within hours, his clinic was shut down, his accounts frozen, and his name erased from every non-profit board. But his calm never cracked. During interrogation, Vale asked for green tea and a legal pad. When shown photos of the victims, he reportedly said, "Yes, each was informative." The trial began in January 2022. Prosecutors presented 147 pieces of evidence, including the tapes, journals, and witness testimonies. Forensic psychologists testified that Vale met the criteria for sadistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, with no signs of delusion. He was not insane. He was precise. Emily Whitman testified last. Her words, "My sister went to him for healing. He didn't kill her out of rage. He harvested her, and he documented it like a school science project." Vale's legal team attempted to plead diminished capacity, arguing he had suffered childhood trauma and had dissociative episodes. But the tapes destroyed that argument. His demeanor in court sealed it, unapologetic, self-assured, and eerily articulate. After 5 weeks, the jury returned, guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to life without parole, to be served at ADX Florence, America's most secure federal prison. After the trial, 3 former patients came forward. All recalled boundary-pushing therapy, being asked about dreams involving restraint, being sedated without consent, waking up disoriented after sessions. But none had physical evidence. They had only suspicion and shame. A class action lawsuit was filed against Vale's clinic and its silent partners. 6 months after his conviction, a storage unit registered under Vale's alias was discovered outside Savannah, Georgia. Inside, hundreds of folders, photos, patient files, maps with coordinates, and 12 more VHS tapes. 8 victims from other states remain unidentified. Authorities believe the true body count may be at least 15. Worse, one file was labeled "Subject question intact. For final assessment. Awaiting conditions." That subject has never been located. In 2023, a disturbing trend emerged: online forums idolizing Vale. One subreddit titled "The Architect's Mind" had 10,000 members sharing Vale's quotes, speculating on unreleased journal entries, and calling him a visionary. FBI cyber units shut down the forum, but splinter groups persist. Some believe Vale's work was unfinished. Law enforcement is monitoring known followers. Criminologists still debate what made Vale different. He wasn't impulsive like Bundy. He wasn't driven by sexual rage like Gacy. He was clinical. One FBI profiler put it best. He was the scalpel. Everyone else was the wound. Vale remains silent in prison. No interviews, no appeals. But he writes, non-stop. Every day, prison staff confiscate notebooks filled with what one guard described as a psych textbook written by a demon. Charleston will never forget the man they trusted most. The building that housed his clinic has been demolished. A memorial garden now stands in its place, honoring the named and unnamed victims. Emily Whitman published a book in 2024, What He Took From Me, My Sister, the Sadist, and the System That Protected Him. It became a bestseller. Inside ADX Florence, Vale reportedly requested one item for his cell, a human anatomy textbook.